Hello everybody, I'm Dr. Jun.
I'm Dr. Isabel.
To express the best version of yourself, to become your quantum nature. So in order to really express the best version of yourself, first we have to really focus on the quantum mind and the quantum body and its local quantum self. So within the quantum body, we like to talk about we call meridian system and energy system, how this is intertwined with the disease and the emotions. Yeah.
We are energy. We have in our body, we have systems, we have organs, we have cells. If we look deeper into our cells, we find that there's some subatomic particles in our bodies. And with inside, go deeper into those subatomic particles, scientists have found that there is some very small particles that are called quarks, and they interact with each other, generating energy. So if we go from the microscopic level to the macro, we will end up finding out that a big percentage of our body is energy. Everything that is around us is energy. And in our body, to change and to transfer and to move this energy, there are some little canals, just considered as freeways. Little meridians, they're called acupuncture meridians, or freeways, highways that are transferring that energy. And there is a connection from different parts of the body with these different meridians. Even in your mouth, if we have, for example, a tooth that is bothering us, then we can be connecting and linking that tooth to the meridian that correspond to the freeway that is going to a specific organ in your body. For example, if we're talking about a tooth on the upper left, number 14, if we look at the picture, that tooth is going to be connected to certain parts of your body. And then we include on that, for example, the breast, the esophagus, and then we have the stomach that is connected to that. And there are some structures that are around it, around those organs and those systems that can be affected if there is a blockage on this meridian. If there is something that is causing stagnant energy to flow. So the body is constantly sending us messages that we need to be listening to them to be able to determine what's going on with our body. Right.
Mm-hmm. There's the Chinese 5 elements theory. So there's the 5 elements that are representing different organ system and a different emotion. So looking at the first one is the green is the liver. This is the season of the spring. And then move on to the red one, which is the summer, which is representing the heart. And going to the midsummer, which is the representation of the color yellow, which is the spleen and the pancreas. And next season is going to be fall, which is the lung. And then moving into the winter, which is the kidney. So these 5 elements intertwined and an intricate relationship between those elements that once become too much energy or the too little energy can influence different elements of different organ system. So that's called the root cause of the problem. So where the cause versus where the symptoms. So we really want to find out what's the root to treat those symptoms.
So if we look at the relationship between the different organs in the body and there's different emotions that are linked to that. And if we look at the circadian rhythm, for example, and that's something that we should follow. We should follow our circadian rhythm to allow those different organs to rebalance and then just to regenerate. So if we are, for example, going to bed too late, we are altering that circadian rhythm. And if, for example, there is somebody that can say, I'm waking up every day at 3 in the morning, you can see in the circadian rhythm that 3 in the morning is when the liver is supposed to do the regeneration work, is supposed to be doing his function. So what happens if that person is waking up at that time?
So when somebody waking up, the liver times, so that you are aware that liver creating too much energy, so means that your emotions, the anger, the frustration has been processed. So there's many different ways that you can help them to release those stagnated energy. we teach about the 5 semis conscious action, that doing the nice deep inhalation and longer exhalation allow us to change this biological rhythm in the nervous system to with regulating autonomic nervous system. So by doing that, able to relax those the liver anger issues. So then when you look back to the the circadian rhythm, now you might start finding us passing through that between 1 to 3 o'clock, and it start sleeping through the night. Yeah.
So at that time, between 1 and 3 is when we get the deep resting time. That's when the body, and that's when you usually have more dreaming. The large intestine is supposed to be doing the work or his regeneration around between 5 and 7 a.m. So that's the time when you should be waking up. That's the time when you can be doing a healthy elimination, going to the bathroom, and then doing some morning routines, either doing a breathing technique, doing some writing or journaling if you want to do that, doing some meditation and praying, and then doing some exercises will be a great idea to start working on that.
So that's reflecting up also too that it's a creation time in the large intestine. There's that's called the chakra system in the area that really enhance the creation. So that's the time you really want to focus on doing the morning routine to get the best part of your creation to start the day.
And then also we have a correlation between the large intestine, according to traditional Chinese medicine, with emotions like rejection and confusion. So if you have been dealing with these emotions, you might feel that there is something that is altered, that is not balanced within your digestive system, with your large intestine especially. So there's things that your body is constantly telling you that you need to be aware of, because there is something behind it. And you need to go and research, do an introspection, analyze within yourself what it is that is causing this imbalance, this pathway, this freeway of energy that is not flowing correctly. There is somewhere in there is a traffic jam. You need to make sure that you clear that traffic jam so the energy flows correctly. So if we go to the 7 to 9 a.m., we see that that's a time for the stomach. That will be great for a nice breakfast. And then warm food will be a good idea, nothing really too cold. Ginger tea is really good for the stomach to calm it down, to nourish it. And then usually the emotions that are attached to that are disappointment or bitterness. So if that will definitely lower the frequency or the energetic vibration on the stomach. So it's something that we need to consider. If there is something going on around that time and you feel nauseous, then maybe start analyzing if there is some disappointment in your life happening, or that you have had or have been experiencing disappointment.
So then the next one is going to be after stomach. That's 9 to 11 o'clock a.m. That's the pancreas and spleen. So that relation to the stomach and the spleen, this is where the brother and sister in the Chinese medicine. So this organ system, pancreas, spleen, is representing, if you go into too much or the too little, it can create the worries and something anxiety. So this is the time to doing a nice walk to let the body to relax. And it is a great time to, by doing that, to just start focus on your mind. That will increase the concentration, what you're doing. And next one is going to be 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock. That's going to be the heart, organ of the heart. So that's the time of the lunch break, typically. So it's great to have that, after night's lunch, hot tea, cup of the tea, and bring a lot of activity that you want to do during the time to bring a joy and happiness. But if you're going to excessive, so that can create the stress into the heart. So you don't want to get into that excess joy.
So if we go from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., that's the time for the small intestine. That's when the food is absorbing. It's a good idea to take a nap, a short nap, no more than 30 minutes. And the small intestine is associated with emotions of insecurity and heartache. So just let's do a little analysis and see if there is something going on, and if you're having some trouble around that time with your digestive system. So from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., that's the time of the bladder, and it is a good time to work, to do some work, to study, just challenge the brain and drink a cup of tea or just more water. It's important to drink at least half your body weight or 1/4 of your body weight in ounces of water every day. The emotions related with bladder are the impatience and frustration.
The next one's going to be 5 to 7 p.m. It's a kidney. So kidney is the time zone. Typically people eat around the time of dinner, and activate your circulation by walking, massage, with the stretching. So when the kidney becomes out of balance, this emotional fear and sometimes insecurity, and uncertainty that comes on. So to make sure that 5 to 7 o'clock, go into the introspection, see how am I feeling? Am I feeling something fearful? So really be active, create circulation by walking, massage and stuff. So then moving to now after the dinner, 7 to 9 o'clock is the circulation time. So it's a time to read and calm down, so quieting down, so that really creating a nice calming mental preparation instead of avoiding stimulants like watching TV, watching tablet, being a computer. So let's avoid that to just prepare, go into the nice resting state.
So we go between 9 and 11 p.m. That's when the endocrine system start regenerating. Then the metabolism start functioning, everything is balancing, and there is a good time to sleep. The body needs to save energy for the next day. So it is good to try to turn the electronics an hour before you go to bed. Going to bed between 10 and 11, it's a good idea. And this time, or the endocrine system is related with emotions of longing and shame. So if we go from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m., that's when the gallbladder is regenerating and is functioning. And it's a time when we're resting and we're sleeping and the whole body is regenerating. And the gallbladder is related with emotions of guilt and resentment.
And the liver is the famous liver. Everybody's so stressed out and very anxious and frustrated in the many things, what's happening outside and also inside. By doing introspection, then we need to really shift our internal mind by doing the meditation, really allow us to get into the more positive thinking. So the liver doesn't congeal, doesn't get stagnated, doesn't get angry and frustrated. So the body can really get into the nice, deep resting state during the most important, critical time in the circadian rhythms.
So that's between 1 and 3 a.m. And then what happens if somebody wakes up between that time, between 1 and 3 a.m.? So it might be a sign, a message that the body is sending you that there is something going on with your liver. Maybe you have been having a lot of anger issues. You're being upset of your family member or your friend or the news. So then your liver is the one that is having some issues. And it is a good idea to start having a nutrition that is going to boost the liver. And then you can just find the information on our website and just start eating that and start reducing that upset emotion, that anger that is causing not only the liver to have an imbalance, but then it will create a cascade of chemical reactions in your body that are going to affect the other organs, just like what you saw when Dr. Jun was explaining the relationship of the different organs. So we need to be paying attention to these little signals that the body is sending us before they get bigger.
Right. You can use our YQN techniques that allow us to replace those negative feeling, negative emotion with the positive emotions, the positive thinking, using the stroke technique that we talk about in the other videos. So please watch that to utilize this technique, so they help you shift, release all the negative emotions, and then creating the great quantum body and quantum mind.
So from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., that's the time for the lungs to regenerate, and that will be the time for a soothing breathing exercise, or you can do meditation. Lungs are associated with sadness, and it is not uncommon to see that somebody that has lost a family member or a loved one, that they have been grieving them, that there is a lot of sadness within them, they haven't been able to move through this emotion. They can experience some problems with their lungs. They can find a tumor in their lungs, and that's associated with all this negative energy that is being stagnant in the lungs. So it is important to be aware of all those signs that the body is sending us. It's important to just listen to all these different symptoms and all these messages that the body is trying to give you. So just be in tune with yourself. Just try to control those emotions. It is okay, and we are human beings, so we have positive and negative emotions, but it is not okay to extend those emotions for longer periods of time. That's when chronic conditions, chronic diseases start happening. And just we have some Izamizu actions that you can go on our website to look at them. Those are important to be able to start transforming your life and preventing some problems.